offer, but pretty much still the brochureware. In case you notice, the logo at the top also looks slightly different. 2011, much more modern, much more to offer, many more products to offer. Look at the logo. It's kind of evolved a little bit from there. In 2013, we kind of did a reboot of the website. This is pretty much how it started to look like. 2014 was a major reboot for us, where we kind of started focusing much deeply into the mobile interfaces and providing tooling that would help with mobile interfaces. So this is our existing website. Notice the logo looks pretty different now at the top here, and this is the current website. If you go to, you will see this existing experience. So that was just a quick overview into what and how we've evolved over a period of time. The customer base has been expanding, and as you can see, a lot more people using the products, and of course I mentioned over 90% of Fortune 500. Now this is just, I would like to talk in very brief detail, what does Telerik make? We kind of try to look at our products in these 4 categories, and probably you're using one of the products, if you are using Telerik products, in one of these categories. The first one is developer tools. So if you are using tools that are for .NET, be it WPF, MVC, web forms, we are mostly known for our powerful grids that are also responsive in nature. This is the tooling that you are currently using. So we've been trying to make this as much as, I would say, modern, depending on the applications and devices that are being used today. In the second is the Dev Cloud, which is currently our mobile application development suite. If you're using a Telerik platform, this is what it is. We currently are in the phase where you can easily use Telerik platform to build hybrid applications supported by great mobile backend as service capabilities. Going forth in 2015, you'll start seeing a new stack come in, which is called native script, that would allow you to write code in JavaScript, but then give you native applications out of the JavaScript. So the native script technology is already in beta right now. It's an open beta, so you could go and probably sign up if you want to experience the native script applications as well. The third is our ALM suite, which is our suite for doing testing or agile project management. So we've always thought about building great applications, and our colleagues from the QA field have always been thinking about making sure we deliver what the customer demands. That's what the job of a QA professional is, and we have great tooling that works with latest development technologies. In mid-February, we'll be talking about testing Angular JS applications and Kendo UI applications with Telerik Test Studio. So if you're interested in that, there you have a great story as well. In addition, we have Agile Project Management, as I mentioned, so that's also in ALM space. And finally, for those of you who have not heard of our content management system, it is called Sitefinity, and it basically delivers 2 capabilities. One, it gives you great web presence, which is mobile ready, which has great, I would say, scalability built in, great UI experience built in, but it is also great for if you're looking for a development platform on .NET. So it has all the basic capabilities that an application needs, ranging from login capabilities to workflow capabilities. So that kind of gives you a big boost in case you just wanted to get started with an application platform where you would be able to deploy your business requirements very quickly. So if you've never heard of our content management system before, it is called Sitefinity, and you can definitely go on the website and continue and review the same. There's, as I said, there's a free trial. As you probably know, there's a free trial for most of the products almost all the products that we talked about just before. Telerik has been basically about delivering beautiful experiences, be it in the development space, be it in agile project management, be it testing of those applications, be it any device. It could be a web, it could be on the desktop, or it could even be on the mobile device. So it's there, and that's what we've been focusing on. But when you're delivering these beautiful experiences, developers, there is always this question of how soon can you deliver this application or capability for me. So we've done that. We focused on helping you deliver this in less time as possible. We easily perceive or see that customers make 30% or more less time as they are in their development phase. And finally, all because we are looking at the user experience, the UI capabilities, you're free to focus on the business logic. To do all this, there have been multiple control sets and multiple capabilities. Reporting, coding, and data tools are some of the additional things apart from the UI controls. At this time, a lot of you may be thinking, well, progress has come in. So what is the future of the Telerik products? And I want to take this opportunity to say there's absolutely no change in whatever you've been working with and you will be working with as we go forth. So the big news is no news. There is no change and everything goes forth as it was going on earlier, which means we continue to do our product development. So if you're working in the ASP.NET MVC space, you continue to see much more, many more new controls, many new capabilities come in as we go from MVC, as we go up to MVC 6, you will see continued evolution there. You take WPF, you take universal apps for Windows, or you take WPF as the platform evolves, which is .NET. We will continue to support all of those new innovations as they go forth and as the whole technology stack evolves. Of course, that means we have to continue to innovate on cutting edge. I have talked about our native script technology, which is pretty cutting edge. It takes all your natural JavaScript. You don't have to learn new things, but takes it and creates new innovative capabilities to deliver native applications. Of course, browsers are moving at a much faster rate. So we maintain our cadence of 3 releases every year. That's a minimum. We will continue to have many more releases than 3. This is the age where, for SaaS products, 3 releases would be too low. So if you are a user of Telerik platform, you would be seeing these releases happen almost every month. The good thing is, you don't really have to worry about it. So any of our SaaS products, you will still continue to see continuous improvement over a period of time. You don't even have to wait for 3 months. But for most of other products, which are control sets, testing suites, our content management system, Sitefinity, or our agile project management tooling, all of them are on still 3-year release cadence. Of course, we also publish our roadmap. So if you go to any of the products, you will see the roadmap also mentioned there on a 3-year release cadence. Finally, it's important to know whatever you've learned till about now working on Telerik, the knowledge that you have gathered, is that going to be changing as we go forth? Of course, it's going to be extremely safe. So your Telerik knowledge is going to be reused into anything and everything that we bring forth. There is not even a brand name change for Telerik tools. So everything that you know of, DevCraft, Ajax, UI for ASP.NET Ajax, RAD controls, everything continues to be the same. And then, of course, we have taken a lot of, we take a lot of pride and effort, making a lot of effort in maintaining awesome support and developer resources. So all of that continue as is from the same people who've been giving you the experience since 2002. So this is the current Telerik Vision, which is empowering developers to create compelling experiences across any kind of application. This has been the Telerik Vision. And now with progress, which is the acquiring company, we kind of look at the same vision but a little bit differently. Well, this is the Progress vision, which is powering or the ability to create rapid applications that are driven by data and that are unlimited by any device or cloud. Well, it says pretty much the same as what we have said in the past, except you will see much more reliance or much more relevance of data being brought forth. So if you really crucially think about it, Telerik was always operating in the space of UI or the front end alone, while you could rely on other technologies from .NET space or whatever technology that you are working with to give you capabilities for handling data. But going forth, and as we will discuss today, Progress has much deeper capabilities in data space, and we will take a look at what those capabilities are. So this is pretty much what Progress does. The other change in the vision, if you see, is just not about experiences, but the emphasis on rapid creation and deployment is also crucial, which means you will have many more tools that would allow you to do rapid development that is driven by data and, of course, meant for any device or any deployment scenario, be it in-premise or in the cloud. So let's take a look at the first Progress platform, and this is called Progress Specific. This is basically two capabilities. One, rapid application development, so that is under the build section, as you can see on the left. There is you can quickly build, assemble applications, and then you can deploy it on a choice of either a SaaS platform or an in-premise or a virtual private server. So all those options are available. Before this, we have never talked about deployment of Telerik tools, but now that conversation is going to be coming forth, and you will see many more improvements, and we will talk about one such improvement today in terms of deployment. Next, we've talked about in the vision about the data. So, well, we have great capabilities from Progress under the Progress Specific platform for integrating and analyzing and collaborating on data. So, not just RDBMS, but any kind of data. So if you are working with Oracle SQL Server or MySQL in the past with Telerik tools, you will now be able to work with any kind of data that may exist. And when I say other kinds of data, it includes NoSQL databases, MongoDB, CouchDB, Cassandra, or if you had Hadoop Hive set up, you can actually work with Hadoop as well via Hive. And finally, even if you have business applications that are there in your organization or in your customer's organization, we have capability to now connect with them. This may include Dynamics CRM, Salesforce, SAP HANA, or what have you. So we'll take a look at all of those. And of course, Progress now has a capability in delivering some services. So these are community collaboration services. If you need any architecture help around Progress tooling or Progress specific tooling, we have a team that can help you with the same. And finally, as I mentioned, not just development options, but deployment options as well. So all of the Progress specific platform can not only work on a public cloud, it can also work on a private cloud if you wanted a private deployment of your applications, or even on-premise, which is the more traditional way of looking at things. So with this in mind, remember, this is just platform number one, which is Progress specific. We will kind of go ahead and take a look at what are the other platforms after we've spoken about Progress specific. So the first platform in Progress, or the first tool in Progress specific, which caters to the build paradigm, is the Progress role-based product. Now this product is simply a rapid application development environment, and I said in the slide earlier in the visions itself that it is geared towards rapid application development. So The way Telerik or Progress enables rapid application development is through a model-driven development pattern. So first you develop your model, a simple authoring experience which is completely browser-based, and then ultimately you can add more power into your application using JavaScript. So essentially what I'm saying is you have a drag and drop interface for building a complete web application. So after you've built it, you can deploy it. So the theme of build easy, deploy anywhere is kind of going to be repeated every time I say any product. So here again, you will be able to develop and deploy on the infrastructure of your choice. And of course, rapid application means that you're able to use your existing data, existing assets, and consume it within Rollbase. So that's what you will be able to do. And of course, you will be able to use DataDirect, which is the data connectivity solution, to work with any kind of data source. And this is the first look into Progress Rollbase for you. What you're looking at on the right-hand side in the screenshot is simply the UI for building and assembling your applications. You will notice on the right-hand side is where the design interface is, where you can do some drag and drop. And on the left are all the available components that you can use. So this is how Progress Rollbase looks like. Today we will probably not have time to go deeper into this, but as I said, in the coming months of March, April, May, and so on and so forth, you will be able to get a deeper look into the Progress Rollbase capabilities as well. Broadly speaking, Rollbase has these capabilities: build via simple drag and drop, extend via simple JavaScript and APIs that are available, deploy on any kind of infrastructure that you may have, be it on-premise, in the cloud, or on a private cloud infrastructure. And then we support all of them. In terms of management, you can actually have multiple servers, multiple tenants, and then systems that would monitor your application as well. A lot of ISVs actually have built their products on Rollbase, so that's a full-fledged platform from development, deployment, and a platform that you can look at. I thought I'd give you a quick lap around Rollbase as well, because we have very little time. We are almost about at the half-point mark. I will just quickly cover what are the basic concepts. Even if you can get some amount of it, it's fine, because we are in the future going to be doing a much deeper study on this, deeper session on this as well. All right, so the first thing, as I mentioned, is it's a model-driven development. It's almost a platform as a service infrastructure, which means the first thing we would do in Rollbase is to go ahead and define your core entities. So if, let's say, in an application you're working with an order management system, you would have an entity called, let's say, order, which will have further items that you're going to be ordering. It will have customer details. So those are the core entities that you would be defining, not very different from what you do today. But instead of defining it in the database, you will actually be defining it in the IDE, or the web-based IDE that you saw earlier. So you will associate different properties and attributes to each of these entities and create relationships with them. So it could be one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, or whatever is the next space. So next, obviously, after you've defined the entities, is to build the user interface. Now, automatically, by default, Progress Pacific Platform Rollbase application gives you the user interface the moment you define an entity for CRUD actions. But sometimes CRUD actions are not just good enough. In that case, you can start developing your completely new UI. So if you notice on the left-hand side in the screenshot, you can see new HTML component, new script component. So you can inject new components which are HTML, or you can inject new script components as well. So you must be thinking, if they have script components, can I use Kendo UI with it? Of course, you can use Kendo UI with it. In fact, in one of the future sessions, we will talk about it as well. So You can actually have access control on each of these UIs so that you can say who can do what, and pretty much quickly you will have a full-fledged application that is available for deployment. You can enhance and customize, as I said. If the things that you saw by default are not working, you can actually go ahead and start to use JavaScript to further customize the application. So simply put, Rollbase is developed as an XML file and then uses JavaScript to render the UI, and then you can embed any amount of JavaScript code to work with this. But does that mean what happens? So if you're a seasoned developer, some of the capabilities that are going through your mind that you've seen time again being repeated over and over is, what happens to my workflow? What happens to my security groups and access control? We've talked a little bit about access control in the past, where access control is available only for the pages, but access control is actually deeply embedded in the full role-based architecture. So you define your groups and your logins, and each of those groups and logins can have access to pages or have access to specific actions on each of those entities. So you can have the administrator having full CRUD access on a particular entity, but a particular group of, let's say, customers having access to only active products that they can actually order from. So all that is possible through the role-based interface. Well, once you built this whole application, you obviously want to do publishing. So you could go ahead and publish. We've talked about the various options of publication as well on SaaS-based our cloud. You can choose a private cloud, or you can even say, I want it in-premise in my enterprise or my customer's enterprise. Well, as I mentioned, here it is again, you can actually take whatever you've done and deploy it anywhere for anybody using the XML that we kind of generate. And then it's just very simple. Multiple versions are maintained of the application. So if you want to look at something that you developed in the past, you can actually go back and take a look at that version of the application as well. Finally, any web application today is incomplete if you do not talk about mobile applications. So by default, Rollbase gives you a capability to do a simple one-click mobilization of the web application that you have built earlier, which means that if you have built a web application using Rollbase, you can actually just click on one button and also receive a mobile capability, which is a hybrid application for your device as well. So Rollbase that way is extremely powerful, and it gives you the capability on a simple drag and drop basis. Sorry, I think I repeated this slide. So we've talked a bit about how to build applications in a rapid application development format. Let's take a look at how do we bring all the data that is spread everywhere in various data sources into our application. Before we move into the integration, I have a simple analogy that helps me think about Rollbase. Think of a complete application that we are familiar with. For example, Gmail. That's a full-fledged SaaS application. You're using it. It has full capabilities that are available. Now think about a simple Visual Studio environment where you start making everything from the scratch, which is you have your database to be defined, you have your business logic to be written in C#, and then you drag in and drop various controls. If you add Telerik into this mix, the application development is much faster because we come up with a lot of additional built capabilities that you can simply plug and play in your application, getting to the final product like Gmail or Salesforce. Rollbase is a tier above even Telerik in terms of development, which means it has a drag and drop interface that you can simply use to develop the web application even without having to write a single piece of business logic. So of course, since it's a full PaaS platform, it has its own stack that it uses, but from a customization perspective, it is simply JavaScript. So it helps me think about all these different things that we are dealing with in a very simple format. Hope this helps you as well. But now let's look at, if you have a lot of data sources to integrate, what can you do and what does Progress offer? The product in this space is called Progress DataDirect, and the mission of this product is to connect the world's data. But why do you want to connect with all the data that is there? Well, I will be preaching to the choir if I said anything more than this. But of course, you know, business intelligence applications need data. You need data from all sorts of data sources to be brought into your web application, into your mobile applications. The new classification of business application data that I want you to think about or focus on is when the data resides in hardcore systems of record. And when I say systems of record, they are basically transactional systems that are core to business. Like if you may have a SAP deployment, you may have an Oracle deployment, you may have a SQL deployment, but you may also have Salesforce and other business applications running. So think of them as data sources as well. Data connectivity should be fast, highly performant, highly resilient, and should give you a few more options of deployment. So that's what DataDirect is all about. If you notice, the first thing that DataDirect does is makes everything available, or data connectivity available, in the cloud itself. If you notice on the left-hand side, you have various applications. Those would work with DataDirect Cloud. So that's the first sub-product within DataDirect application. And the DataDirect makes sure that you can connect to any of the applications that are running on the cloud. For example, you may have Salesforce, or you may have Marketo, which is a marketing automation system, or you may need to get your data across the firewall, which is residing inside the premise. So this could be your Oracle, MySQL, SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, DB2, so on and so forth, or even big data like Hadoop, Hive, or you know, a NoSQL database like MongoDB. So that's option number one. The option number two is directly connecting with all this into your applications without using the cloud. So this is just a direct connection. This you can, you know, the data stores could be any, but now you have a ODBC interface, or if you're developing Java applications, a JDBC interface, or if you're working with .NET, an ADO.NET interface to talk to any of these different kind of data sources. So if you've been wondering, I've heard so much about Hadoop. It's such a trend right now. How do I connect with the Hadoop clusters using .NET? Here is your answer. Simply use DataDirect to connect with the Hadoop infrastructure. And finally, we have a simpler tool for called Open Access that lets you actually work with not just these applications, but even with live web services as well. So there you go. You can simply use the Open Access SDK to connect with any kind of SQL engine that you may have. All right, this just expands into what we talked about. This is a kind of data sources that you can connect to pretty much. I don't have to go and talk about individuals, because essentially anything that you can think of is already here. The interface that you get to talk to these applications, depending on what technology you use, is available. ADO.NET, JDBC, or a simplified ODBC connector for any kind of technology that you may be working with. Relational databases, big data, NoSQL databases, data warehouses like Teradata, or even cloud data, which is SQL Azure as well. Now this talks a little bit about Hadoop, but I will kind of, because we're running short of time, I would skip this. Sorry about bringing this into view. But essentially, there's a very deep integration with Hadoop. Based on HDFS, you have MapReduce, and then further you have Hive built on it, and DataDirect currently can connect with the Hive product itself. And finally, if you want a custom connectivity for any new kind of database, for example, if you wanted to figure how to connect with Postgres database in your .NET application, well, DataDirect Open Access gives you that option. A simple ADO.NET, which is a uniform SQL basically syntax to connect with any kind of application. One of the additional powerful features of DataDirect Open Access is that it is highly performant. So if you're looking at even improving the performance of your database connectivity options that are there today, you may want to give this a look, and maybe it would help you, get some mileage in terms of how you can move forward improving the performance of your web applications. Now, if you're wondering what kind of applications use DataDirect, what kind of applications can benefit from DataDirect, you would be surprised to know that quite a bit of applications that are there in production right now actually use DataDirect as the connectivity technology without you even knowing it. If you've heard of IBM Cognos, that's a product that uses DataDirect. If you've heard of Tableau, which is again a full BI solution with visualizations included, that uses DataDirect. So as I mentioned in the past, it's a very enterprise ready, and many more. Eloqua, there's a lot more. But essentially this is a product that you would want to use in your enterprise applications when you have heterogeneous data sources and you want to connect with all of them. You're trying to build a dashboard for the CIO, and all this data is flying from everywhere, and you want a simple way of being able to connect to all of them. DataDirect is the way to go forth. Now, the next thing as you are working with your data would be actually one of the capabilities that you may have thought about in the past, but tried to include it in your programming interface. And I'm hinting to business rules. Now, out of the Pacific platform, so till about now we were talking about Progress Pacific platform. Out of the Progress Pacific platform, this is a product which gives you business rules capability. Now, traditionally, if you've written your applications, you probably embedded your rules into the application itself. The rules could look like, if for an insurance company, if the person is of a certain age, do this, or if a person is, let's say, has certain lifestyle diseases, is of a certain demographic profile, is of a certain economic profile, give them a risk assessment similarly. So that you may have coded in the past, but basically the problem is a single change in those can impact. You would actually have to step down into the code and start making those changes. So business rules actually help you do that, which is you externalize this capability of getting rules, and you just can then change the rules on the fly and deploy them back into the system. So the Corticon is simply a business rules engine that gives you the capability of separating the rules or the business rules from the code, thereby improving agility of the business. So why people use business rules? Well, faster software changes, scale. Now this may surprise you, but when you think about one or two business rules, it's all right. But when you're thinking about industries and real-world applications, those rules may go up to 50, 60 or more. So you want some way to basically be able to manage all of those rules. Of course, if a business simple rule has to change, you shouldn't be needing to call in your developers every time. So your business guys or the analysts should be just able to go in and make better use of all those resources. So this is another benefit that the business rules engines bring to you. Now this is a quick view into how Corticon looks like. which is the business rules engine. But Corticon has basically three components. The first is called the Corticon Studio, which basically gives you the capability to define your rules. Corticon Server is the second component, which basically hosts all the business rules that you have written. And then you have Corticon Enterprise Data Connector, which is used to connect with various data sources and to basically run your rules. So those are some of the components that Corticon has. The view that you have there is of Corticon Studio, where you can actually define your business rules. This will work with any kind of environment. If it's a .NET or if it's Java, it's just pretty much okay with all of those infrastructures. On the left, if you notice, you basically define your vocabulary, which is basically your business objects. On the right-hand side, these are the rules that you're going to be authoring. So, for example, you can say the object is applicant, the property is SkyDriver. If he's a SkyDriver, which means the property is true, then you have a certain action that you need to do. And the action is applicant risk rating is turned into high. So similarly, you can have many more rules, and on the bottom right, you can see all the rule statements have been put into a natural language. So those are some of the things that you can do. On the left bottom, you can even see custom factoids, so to say, that you can build up, which are simple Excel functions to calculate things. So you can work with those as well. Well, this is another way of looking at the whole Corticon ecosystem, where you've built your vocabulary, you've built your rule sheet, you've built your rule flow, and then you deploy it on the Corticon server, which basically enables access through to your basic application. Of course, a lot of industries are using Corticon today. Some major use cases include commerce engines for applying pricing, discounts, or making sure there are no fraudulent buyers. Customer services, including validation, adjudication, recovery, fraud detection, manufacturing and supply chain, which leads to production planning, resource allocation, and of course, in business and IT disciplines, you have enterprise rules management that is needed as well. Well, this was pretty much the Corticon business. There is another product from Progress that helps in deployment, and it is called Progress Modulus. So till about now, we've been thinking about building things. Now we're thinking about just deployment. So Modulus is the product that Progress has for managing deployments. Currently, in its exact form right now, Modulus is a mean stack deployment tool. So you can think of it as platform as a service container that works with just the mean stack. And when I say mean stack, it means MongoDB, Express, AngularJS, and Node.js. So it's the stack. It's a container where you can deploy applications written on the mean stack, and then it provides additional capabilities on that stack, which means you have cloud scaling, you have custom SSL, you can have capabilities of WebSockets, great insights into how your application is working, which are the routes that have a problem, which are the resources that are consuming your maximum time, and so on and so forth. However, going forth, and this is in very, very recent future, this will completely become a simple Docker ecosystem for enterprises. So if you're not familiar with Docker, it's basically a new kind of, I would just like to say it's a container technology, but everybody says that, so I would just abstract it to say further that it's a technology that is a lightweight virtualization technology. So containerization is nothing but virtualization, but virtualization still uses all the components on the stack, but containers use very little, which means they're extremely lightweight and they can be deployed very quickly. Which means if today you do not have the option or the luxury of working with ASP version next, ASP.NET version next, oh, by the way, we have a webinar on that, which is next after this. But in case you do not have the luxury of working with ASP version next, you want to deploy your .NET application on Linux platform, think about it, how is it possible? Some of you may be thinking of the Mono project, but the other option that we have is a Docker ecosystem, where you put everything in a container and deploy it on a Linux ecosystem. Much lighter than virtualization, much faster than virtualization, and much easier to do once you start working with Docker. So maybe in the future we'll have a session on Docker as well. Well, these are some of the capabilities of Modulus, put very, very simply. It's an enterprise-ready platform, has auto-scaling, has deep, fault resistance. It has great reporting. So basically, everything and anything that an enterprise would need. It has simple scalability, so you can say, I can deploy it in this region or that region or multiple regions for redundancy purposes or availability purposes. All of them are available. And of course, you receive notifications on if there is any downtime or if there is a resource that is hogging more than the limit that you have set it for. So take a look at Modulus. But the final product that I want to leave you with from Progress is, we have about 10 minutes. So, and I know it's a lot to digest, but please stay with me. This is just going to take another minute. This OpenEdge is actually another full-fledged platform. So similar to what we've talked about, the Pacific platform from Progress, which was build and deploy, OpenEdge is also a platform which is build and deploy. But OpenEdge really is a much, it's a platform that has been in existence for long. It's a much mature platform, much more associated with what you think about when you think in terms of ERPs and things like those. But this is not an end product in itself. It's again a platform to build applications on. OpenEdge basically gives you an ultra high performance, ultra reliable application development platform system. So think about a large transactional system, a large entity using doing a lot of transactions. Why don't think about our friendly neighborhood post office system? So where you have a lot of people going in, you want the system to be extremely reliant, highly available, have the basic capabilities like business process management, workflows, all of that built in. OpenEdge is that platform. And by the way, India Post, which is also one of the largest postal delivery networks in the world, uses OpenEdge for maintaining its core system. So that's what OpenEdge is. It is sort of a very proprietary way of writing technology. The programming language used there is called ABL, or Advanced Business Language. Think of it as if you were in ERP world, if you were going to do anything with SAP, you were going to be writing ABAP. So it is similar to that, and that's why I kept it for the last, because this is an extremely large platform. When you're working with OpenEdge, you're essentially working with a lot of projects that are multi-year and pretty long in their tenure. Well, with that, however, you see the modern applications that are there and the use cases for them. If you have a mobile application development requirement, or you have a business requirement that changes a lot, all of that is supported by OpenEdge. So OpenEdge also helps you build mobile applications for OpenEdge applications. It has built-in business process management rules. It has multiple service providers that can help you deliver this. In fact, Infosys has a large practice based on OpenEdge, and a few more companies around the country and around the world. So, of course, it also supports multiple deployments, which basically would help you understand, how all of this can work together in your organization. Okay, so this was what Progress had to offer, but then I've talked about so many tools now that it may be confusing in terms of, okay, where do we stop, or how do we think of it as one specific or one integrated suite. So the current screenshot, the current screen that you have is what you can think of in terms of entire Telerik and Progress put together. So if you notice, I've just organized this in the simple three-tier architecture most developers are familiar with. At the bottom, you have various databases. So you can have an RDBMS or a NoSQL or a Hadoop, but Progress has an offering even in the database space, and it's called the OpenEdge database. This is extremely reliant, kind of extremely high transaction support, kind of a database which is there. So apart from all the other databases, you now also have an OpenEdge database. In terms of data connectivity and data integration, .NET developers may be familiar with ADO.NET, or the latest ones amongst you may be familiar with Entity Framework also. From a Progress perspective and Progress and Telerik perspective, you have DataDirect Cloud or DataDirect Connect. The first option is both available in the cloud and has some in-premise component that you need to put in. The DataDirect Connect is a simple connectivity solution that can only be deployed along with your application. We've talked about it and you've seen what each of them do. We've not talked about the data aggregation, but Easel is a product that actually can be used to pull data from multiple sources. And as it arrives, you want to kind of dedupe it, work with changing the shape of the data or things like those. Easel is the product for doing it. We've not talked a lot about Easel, but I just wanted to simplify this a little bit because there's so much that we're talking about today. In the business application services section, you have business rules which are driven by Corticon. Of course, there are many more kind of need for business application layers, like basically queuing, or you may have a BPM need or things like those, a workflow need. So those are not available from Progress as such, so you've got to be defaulting back to whatever you were using earlier. But in terms of then developing as full systems, you have these platforms that currently exist. So the current mobile development platform, which we've indicated on the left, is the Telerik platform, or the mobile application development platform. We've talked about today a rapid application development called Rollbase. So this helps you develop all these applications, and of course, Rollbase can use all the other tiers from the bottom as well. If you've heard of our content management system Sitefinity, of course, it gives you a web interface for building similar applications, but also to customize them in your .NET environment. And of course, the final product, which I mentioned, is pretty much a big platform in itself, an extremely reliable platform, which is called OpenEdge. But you work on it using a specific technology or a programming language called ABL. It's essentially a 4GL language, and you basically get to use ABL to write your applications. Again, you have to define entities, you have to define UI, you have to define business rules, but all of that is done in the ABL language. Now, all of that, there is at the top, we have UI widgets to support all of this, and this includes your Kendo UI, which is the HTML5 or JavaScript-based UI, and of course, all of our the developer tools, which may be for .NET or PHP or Java, or rather JSP right now. On the right-hand side, you will see some things which are cut across all of these capabilities. Mostly they're from the either the deployment stack or the ALM stack. The first is Team Pulse. Team Pulse is the Agile Project Management from Telerik. If you are going to be managing multiple projects, that's a project management tool that you're going to be wanting. Agile Project Management, if you're using Agile methodologies, do consider Team Pulse as well. In Test Studio, a tool that we talked about for automation testing, it can do functional, performance, and load testing for web, desktop, and mobile applications. So Test Studio is the product. We have done multiple sessions of this in the past, and we will be doing more in the future. So if you have not heard about this or tried it, you may want to do that as well. We talked about Modulus also, which essentially is transforming into a Docker ecosystem. Currently, it's meant for mean stack, but going forth, it will be for any stack actually. So if it's a Microsoft stack or a LAMP stack or mean stack, it wouldn't matter because ultimately Modulus aims to be a Docker ecosystem, and that's going to happen very, very in very near future. So I probably have 2 to 3 minutes left into my session. I know I have not taken any questions, but hopefully you've put some questions in for me. And I'm on my last slides as well. I know today was a very, very busy session, so a lot of information was kind of handed out. I just wanted to wrap everything up today by saying what I think are the capabilities that you as Telerik developers gain out of the Progress ecosystem. And there I have a little Dilbert strip for you talking about ease of use and building applications for ease of use. All right, so the first thing you gain is enterprise-ready drag-and-drop development environment, which was not there earlier. As I mentioned, the analogy of Visual Studio, which is enhanced by Telerik, which is now further enhanced by Rollbase to ultimately get to the application that you want to develop. So this is Rollbase, and we talked about having a simple web interface for doing drag and drop environment. Think about enterprises, large enterprises that need multiple applications, and they may not be interested in doing bespoke development every time. An excellent solution for them. If you are an ISV who wants to build out or come out with the product pretty quickly, but do not want to do a grounds of development, but want to get to the market as quickly as possible, again, a very simple drag and drop environment, but extremely customizable at the same time. Earlier in Telerik, you had no option of doing any data connectivity for multiple data sources that you had. You still had data access or Telerik data access component for doing or connecting with multiple RDBMSs, basically convert them into objects, or basically it was an ORM tool. Right now with Progress, you get universal data connectivity irrespective of the kind of database you have or the kind of data store that you are working with. We did not have a business rules engine in the past, so if you've ever looked for one in the past, or you can think of scenarios where business rules engine can be of use, Progress's Corticon is a great solution that's been deployed worldwide multiple times. So a very good use case actually is the recent, if you've heard of the US government's insurance plan that they've offered to the worldwide, sorry, to the American citizens, it actually runs on Corticon as well. Individual states can then further, go ahead and do things, but worldwide Corticon is one of the business rules engines that has been selected to actually run the whole insurance portal that has been set up by the US government. And already Corticon is running most of the states' insurance policies in the United States. So again, a very robust engine that you may want to look at. If you were only doing .NET development in the past but have been exploring to look at how do I do JavaScript development, Node.js development as well, with Progress you get those capabilities as well, not only just JavaScript and Node, but if you've been thinking about Java, that's another technology that you get a lot of tools for. We've talked about JDBC connectors. We've talked about OpenEdge and Java capability that it brings to the table. Corticon, the rules engine itself, is enabled for all the multiple technologies. So sort of many more technologies now that you can work with if you're working with Progress and Telerik going forth, and the number of deployment options that you get. Earlier it was only on-premise or only cloud. Now you have an option of looking at multiple deployments, now including Docker ecosystems, which means you can now deploy it on the cloud or deploy it in the premise and really don't have to worry about making a choice as you're doing the development. So well, hopefully this has given you a quick view into all of the capabilities that Telerik and Progress bring together for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at if there are any more questions that are left. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that Lohit would have already answered most of them, but I will take a look again. If you're wondering how to start trialing all of these tools that we have talked about, well, the simple answer is go to the website progress.com, and you will have trials available as well, for which you just need to go there, sign up, and get started. Many of these tools that we've talked about are available on a SaaS basis right off the web. For example, Rollbase, DataDirect, Cloud, Easel. All of these products are SaaS-based products, so simply sign up for a trial and then you will be on with doing your development right there. All right, so I'm looking at all the questions right now.